Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have pen and paper because I'm going to explain to you something that you weren't aware of.
My problem!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tin Foil Radio. We're coming to you live from a underground bunker.
Hey,
already in the walking. Not even 5 minutes, not even a
We're
whole
already-
minute into the podcast. And we're already
What
doing
happened?
walking. Oh, the Beatles. That was last episode.
What happened?
Oh.
Now you sound like Goofy.
No, I don't. Anyway,
What was Kermit walking?
hey, man.
What happened? Okay, hey.
What is that?
I don't know.
Can we start the show?
Yeah. So, what's interesting is I used to hate it down here. I really did. Yeah, because you won't let me leave. But then, the limited amount of news that you let me watch, to keep me in fear. And on the precipice of a nervous breakdown all the time.
I'm trying to keep you dumb too.
It's not that hard. I'm glad we're down here because people up there are freaking the fuck out right now.
Yeah. So as we're recording this, every sports organization, major sports organization, even my beloved XFL, has suspended play because of the coronavirus outbreak. You guys know this by now. This isn't new.
Yep.
We're just saying that because this is such a fresh wound.
Well, you can't really talk about anything without. I was at baseball practice picking up my kid, and I was like, in all seriousness, we're not down in a goddamn bunker. I was at baseball practice picking up my kid earlier, and talking to like the dads and whatever, and it was like, what else is there to talk about?
Yeah,
That's what we talked about.
It's so controlling of our lives right now. And so that's why we're going to maybe sound a little bit different than we were last week. But I think this is good to have this episode. And
because one of the people who's helping to make it worse is one of our favorites.
Right. One of our favorites. I would say if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't do this show.
Well, we wanted to acknowledge what's going on in the world before we moved on to the actual episode.
And we're not going to do another coronavirus episode. We've done it. That was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before all this happened. But yeah, he is a major component in this. I wanted to do this at a different episode. I wanted to get more episodes under our belt and do something, maybe like a milestone episode, maybe like the 50th episode or the 100th episode or something. But he's too involved in my life now. There's two major stories that came out about him in this past week. So it was only a matter of time.
Is there an officer problem?
Oh man. We'll get into that story. But to truly understand the just colossal meltdown that he is having in his life right now, to truly understand that, we have to give you the whole story. So this is going to be a multi-episode epic.
We're basically doing the Phantom Menace of Alex Jones.
Pretty much.
And by the way, before we continue, I did read a little bit about his DUI and how he was picked up. His bail was set at $3,000, and he was released at 4 a.m. Do you know how many fucking times that I've been in jail and been like, man, I would love to be out by 4 a.m. so I could keep drinking?
Oh, and he did his show.
Celebrity motherfuckers. Did he do his show that day?
No, he spent the night in the drunk tank.
Well, no, but he was released at 4 a.m.
Right.
So, yeah.
But he didn't sleep. So he went and,
Probably not.
and came and did the show still awake. And this is clearly a man who was still drunk. And he was clearly more drunk than what he was trying to say. And he has a problem with alcoholism. And we'll handle that when we get to there. I'm not trying to beat him down, but he definitely, if there's anybody...
I'm a recovering alcoholic, so honestly, I got every right to say, hey, fuck you, Alex.
Well, there's a human level to this. He's still a human being.
Absolutely.
As evil
You're
and
right.
horrible as he is, he's still a human being.
We're going to do what he never does, which is have compassion for others, even if we disagree and kind of hate them.
No, yeah, I hate him.
Yeah, he's scum.
People think I like him because I post memes about him all the time and in these things. he is entertaining at a certain level, but he has hurt so many people in his career, and I wanted to shine a light on that. And why we will make fun of him and have fun, because he's such a weird, bizarre human being.
Yeah.
It's not going to be...
No. Kind of put it to you...
We want to show you how dangerous somebody like this can be.
Yeah, and how they get that way. But kind of put it to you like this, Jake, for the audience, to kind of tell you how we feel about Alex. Would you... you have two choices, Jake. One choice is that Alex dies and he's no longer like able to talk about anything because he's dead.
Right.
Or that he sees how much damage he does and completely stops broadcasting forever. Out of those two choices, I know that probably some people might think we would choose
Option 1. No, I would always choose option 2.
right. We don't want him like to die or to get hurt.
No.
We just want him to understand that he's a dick and he needs to stop.
And he needs to really look at himself, because this is horrible. I mean,
so there you go.
And we'll play this clip later, and we'll talk about it in later episodes. But he can't take any responsibility for any of his actions.
And criticism, fucking forget it, dude.
And he did a
He
whole
cannot
segment
be
on his
criticized.
show after the DUI happened, where he didn't sleep, probably drank more,
I would have.
and did the show drunk. You know what I mean?
I would have had
And
a fucking flask between commercial
he
breaks.
had-
Hey, what's up? Woo!
He started that show talking about how he has a problem and he's addicted to alcohol and he's addicted to rage. And he I'm
I
being
get
legit.
you.
There are some people
I would love to say that I'm addicted to rage. Come on.
No, but there are some people that thrive on this and want to be hated. That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
He wants to be hated.
Oh yeah, and he's good at it
And it
because
gives
I hate him.
right, exactly. It works because he's a total dickbag. But anyway, let's get into this.
Yes,
So
let's do
Alex
it.
Jones,
Was born on a farm to a puppy and a kitty mommy.
well,
The farmer took one look at him, and
we're not going to talk about his personal life. We're going to cut that
the
off.
farmer took one look at him and said, "Fuck this shit. We need to get him on TV.
He needs to be in talk radio. All right, so
Can we get him to work out like a lot, so it looks like he's taking roids, but he can plausibly deny
he
it?
was cut in his younger days. He really was.
I'm sure he was, but now he just looks like a I mean, he's a parody of himself. He should
he's
know
bald
that.
now, which is even better. He shaved his head.
Oh, okay.
So now
Good. So that weak ass comb over shit
the hairline
that was
kept
fooling no one.
going back and back and back with the years, he finally just said, screw it. And his explanation was, I'm ready for war. That was his thing. So let's get into this.
You can't just be like, yeah, okay.
Alex,
Sorry.
I'm having a midlife crisis. My life's in shambles, but I'm ready for war.
There's a reason for that, dickhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did this to yourself, and that's the problem I have with him. He cannot take any responsibility for his actions. So Alex Jones began his career on public access TV, ACA TV in Austin, and Alex.
Shame on you, ACA TV. Seriously.
No, they were fucking outlaws, man. Because Alex was perfect for public access because, especially at the station like ACA, that basically had no rules. If you wanted to come and do a show, you could. At one point,
A lot of public access is like that.
exactly. And at one point, they had a preacher, a fundamentalist preacher, with a toilet seat around his neck, reading the Bible. So it was basically like YouTube, unless you're Alex Jones, where you get deplatformed. That will be a later episode. So Alex actually started becoming popular at the station. Like when people got to meet him, they thought it was an act. They thought that he was in a tinfoil hat, crazy person. They liked him.
Was he like that? I mean, back then even?
No, he's been consistently insane his whole career. I mean, he's changed some stances on some things, but he is 100% still the sociopath he was.
The thing about
He's just gotten worse.
Yeah. Well, and I am gonna ask Jake some questions myself because I don't follow him nearly as much.
I hate how much I know about this
Yeah,
man's career
but
now.
it's interesting. But my kind of question is, what is he? I mean, I know he's kind of a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, he's like a far right.
There are some times that he kind of delves into stuff that I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny because it's benefiting like my arguments. Very rarely, but every once in a while.
Well, he was against Bush. He hated Bush because of Iraq. Yeah, there's a whole thing. He's not only
It's very, 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 very little that it's like, oh, okay. but he's not a complete like Rush Limbaugh guy.
No, he's not fully like Hannity or Rush
Yeah,
Limbaugh that
he's
are clearly
not-
talking heads for the right.
For the right, yeah.
He was definitely more in the middle, but the more he's progressed, like now, he is 100%.
He's more conservative,
He is
yeah, of
fringe
course,
far
yeah.
right.
Yeah, he's but he doesn't like Nazis, does he? Hasn't he said that on the
He
thing?
says, he hates Nazis and things, but yet he is a white nationalist.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
it twisted. Alex Jones is a racist.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to help. This is why I'm kind of trying to get to the point
Mm-hmm.
that Alex has never seen, which is who the fuck knows what you are and what you're about. And that's kind of your own problem, Alex. Is that nobody really?
Is it? Well, here's the thing: is it his problem, or is it the victim of what he started doing with?
Or the idiots who watch that shit
host?
and watch it regularly.
That's what I'm saying. When you look at guys like Rush Limbaugh, who make all the money they do for being a loud, obnoxious guy, why would if you're somebody like Alex? Why not hop on that and try to make the money off of that? That's what I try and get.
Humanity's fucking doomed.
This is why I love doing this show, because it gives me an opportunity to say
What
things
is
like
my
that.
problem?
What is my problem? Yeah, he's in the theme. He was bound to be on the show. But that's what I love doing, is kind of breaking it down, because you're right. This is a great question. I can't tell you who the fuck Alex Jones is.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, I mean, I
know, but I know who Hannity are. I know who Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, I know
They're
exactly
good with
what their
brands.
corner is. Oh yeah.
But Alex is so fucking
All over the place.
because he'll say
we just
stupid,
know that he's out of his fucking mind.
right. He'll say stupid far right conspiracy bullshit, and then the next day he'll talk about fucking 12-dimension aliens that are
Hanging out with-
controlled by a hive mind AI.
Yeah.
This is just some of the shit he says, and it's so back and forth. This is also a guy that said coronavirus in our episode
That we talked about, yeah.
was targeting races. It was attacking Asian people. It's a race. And then he said, now it's an age thing. They're going after the old people. That's why the elderly are dying. Not the fact that they have a bad immune system because they're in their 80s and you get older, the worse it gets. Like, come on. Anyway, thanks.
You know
what? I appreciate that, because it is hard to explain him to people.
because we have to. I mean,
You have to get into this story, because it's crazy.
as much as you have told me about him, and as much as like since I've known you, that's probably one of the first things I knew about you when I met you like a year ago, was that you loved to make fun of Alex Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that. So
there's
I know that
multiple
you have more. You have
clips
a
of him.
far better understanding, or rather, you have a far better.
Well, two things.
You have more experience to pull from to go, I don't fucking know what he is.
Yeah, well, two things that attribute to that. One is I already had an invested interest in him, because he is so fascinating to me in an aspect of how can anybody take this man seriously.
Right,
He's
yeah.
clearly
He's
an insane person.
Yeah.
There's no question.
but people follow him like it's gospel.
But listening to the podcast, and I mentioned it on a coronavirus episode, listening to the podcast Knowledge Fight is something that made me really get into it, because
Knowledge Fight.
it's such a good show, and that is one of the main inspirations for this show.
Uh-huh.
Is their sole thing is they listen to Alex Jones' show and they make fun of him and point out how he's wrong, and they have research and they can back it up with actual legitimate research and hard facts. And it was like, you know what? I want to do that too. I want to do something like that, because I have to talk about this man with someone who doesn't know him as much as I do, and I can explain to him this. He's got an amazing character arc, let me tell you. So he started in
So we're back in
public access.
Public access back in Austin.
And he was actually pretty popular. And that's the thing when we started talking about this, when you asked me who he was, this is why I invested in laughing at him, because he is entertaining. I'll give him that. He says some really dumb, ignorant, horrible stuff sometimes, most of the time.
If he wasn't hurting so many people, it would be great entertainment.
The character work that he has put into himself to be loud and rah, make weird noises and freak out, it makes him entertaining, because you want to laugh and be like, who is the psychopath? Who is this guy? So I understand that. And when he started working at public access, they were thinking the same way we were. But it gets horribly... This whole saga is amazing. So one of the former producers at ACA TV, Shelley Tumbleson, had this to say about Alex, quote, "He was amusing at first in a crazy tinfoil hat kind of way.
Hey.
Hey, tinfoil radio. But then came the very uncomfortable realization that what we saw on TV then wasn't an act. In the
That's
coming
who he
months,
is.
I would meet him in person and find that he was the exact same person off camera as he was when he was in front of the camera.
A stinky
in front of one,
fuckhole.
end quote.
A stinky fuckhole.
And this is Alex's biggest problem, I think. And
Besides the fact that he's out of his mind.
Well,
Which we don't want to make fun of mental illness.
no, we're not.
He's not out of his mind in the respect of like depression and shit. It's more like you need help and you're not getting it, and there's so many people enabling you to not get. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, step off my soapbox.
No, he is, and I'm not trying to use a scapegoat of it. I mean, he is 100% his own problem. He did all this to himself.
Oh yeah,
he deserves everything he gets.
It's like when I was still drinking that 20 years of my life, I was just like, you know what I'm really sick of? Fucking liquor stores selling beer that I can buy and drink. It's not my fault. It's
Yeah.
liquor store's fault. Roar!
That is a running theme with Alex. He is a narcissist who
That's
can't
exactly, yes.
take criticisms, and he can't own up to his
He
responsibility.
can find scapegoats really well, though.
He's great at that.
Yeah.
He's great at pointing the finger.
He's got a scapegoat generator, like a name generator. The Jews. All right, that's it.
No. It's the globalists now.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
They're trying to throw you by saying globalist.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. So there are multiple cases of people saying similar things to what she said. His coworkers would be out having drinks, and he would show up with piles of papers, and he was acting like it was his duty to save humanity. And I will say this. I do think Alex is a charlatan, and any chance he gets, he will not only try to sell supplements or horrible things, and we'll get into that, but he also can't help but brag all the time. He is a charlatan. But that being said, I don't think that he's fake. I think he really believes the stupid shit he says. I truly think he's
he's convinced himself to the point. At first, it was practicing to be better at it.
No, I think it was a
That became latched onto what he already was and just exacerbated it and amplified it. I think he was always kind of a shithead, but like as he practiced being this on-air
in the beginning was
character.
Harmless. In the beginning was public access. It was harmless. It was something silly to watch. I mean, there's people on YouTube that have conspiracy theories and are loud and everything. As long they're harmless, as long as they're not trying to.
But see, Alex Jones is the fucking idiot, like mob guy, like that you see in the movies, who's like, he thinks he's badass and he goes and like maybe he kills somebody and then he can't stop talking about it to everybody and he's who he is? He's Frankie Carbone from Goodfellas. Yeah. Remember when he comes in and they tell him like don't spread your shit around and his wife has a fucking pink caddy and shit. And he's like, what the fuck, you fucking crazy? Like that's who.
They had the heist,
yeah, that's who Alex Jones is. He's the fuckhead who's like, you can't just fucking stop for like six months. Just stop spending money for 6 months.
Somebody calling you?
Yeah, we got an alarm. We got an alarm right now from the CDC.
Stop talking about him.
Oh, son of a...
Okay, do you have your phone off, sir? Interrupting the show.
Such a bitch.
Anyway, we were talking about Alex Jones at public access and people liking him at first, but then eventually realizing this guy's crazy, including the time, like I said, he showed up they're just out having drinks, and he's just plop a stack of papers, being like, "Why don't you know about this?" Like freaking out at them, and so he really thinks, like I said, he believes that he is on a mission to save the human race from something.
Himself?
Maybe. Another former producer had this to say. This is what Alex used to
Don't use my name. Is that what they had to say? That's it?
I think I just forgot to write their name.
No, they only on the condition of anonymity.
Quote, I'm burdened by how much knowledge I have, and all I have to share it with you guys, because it's my duty. And he was burdened by his responsibility to society. So, could you imagine living like that? being in that mindset all the time that you can't. You have to save the world, and you have to be like,
Well, I mean,
I'm crazy.
I often think that, in my way of thinking, which is, let's be honest, has been, colored by my experience and upbringing, environment, all those things, socioeconomic factors. But I don't feel like I have to save the world, but I do know that if you changed like one or two things, the world would be a lot better place.
You don't need to be like, here's
But
a
I'm
stack
not-
of papers and all the evidence. And
Dude, man, sometimes I don't even get out of bed in the morning, let alone like run out to the streets and like,
save 'em,
everybody stop what you're doing. Like, dude, I barely took a shit.
Anyway, there are multiple cases of people saying similar things to that. It's,
Joking. I take a shit every day.
So-
Come on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty common.
But no, I can't imagine living like that. I do feel the world's going to end
Yeah.
in my lifetime, which is kind of scary.
Another can't even talk. Alex.
But I felt that way. I'll go ahead
yeah.
and jump in. But I felt that way long before the coronavirus. I want to make that clear.
We're gonna be fine.
I know. I'm not.
just
I
sucks
don't
that-
want you thinking like, oh, now like I'm that scared. No, I've always thought since I was a little kid. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you've always been crazy.
I've always been cynical. Like, Jesus Christ, we're gonna explode.
So anyway, Alex's career took almost
So does Alex.
almost took a nosedive before it even had the chance to start.
Oh, how we wish.
So ACA TV, all their shows had a live call-in component, similar,
Oh.
similar to like a radio show. And it was all about, it's public access. It's all about local.
So
interacting.
wingdings and fucknuts are all next to their phones going, I
I
gotta call this motherfucker.
I'm seeing it on TV. Yeah, dude, the '90s was. I'm sure you could tell me how weird it was. So
It was fucked up, man.
I would love to do like a sketch comedy show based on the idea that every other sketch is just another channel on public access
We could do that.
or another show on public access. Because I love the spirit of that. Like, it's so dumb and it's so weird, but I was like, it's such a funny lost art. We don't really have that
Today
anymore.
on Plants, we'll talk to you if you let them.
I mean, the closest
We're going to talk to a fern.
the closest that you would have to that is something like Twitch, or Mixer, or, watching somebody play video games on Twitch because there's chat
TikTok.
and all this other stuff.
Kids are
But
into TikTok.
whatever. During that time, he ran into a group of trolls that went by. I want to see if you can say this. Anathema, Anathema. Anathema.
Anathema? I don't know, whatever.
Anyway,
It's probably not spelled right because they're dumb.
they're a group of trolls that antagonized Alex. So probably if we were around Alex at that time, this would probably be us. Their main goal was to call the show and derail it. They succeeded multiple times.
Awesome.
He got so angry at them, to hang up on them, he almost jumped across the table and like slammed the calls, like the Comrex setup, like the call setup. He wanted to rip the phone out of the wall. He got so mad at them because this is early in his career, and
And you know what sucks too is that he's already an idiot and crazy
Right.
and everything, but now he's got they're trying to shut me down mentality.
They gave him the
Fuck.
narrative. They gave him the narrative that he wanted. If they hate me so much, I'd be doing something right.
Now it's my mission to. Blah, blah, blah.
He
Like, oh,
carries that with
Jesus.
him to
I
this
know.
fucking day.
I know.
When we'll talk about this in a later episode, but when he gets scrubbed from the internet, he wore it as a badge of honor because I'm doing something right if the establishment wants to shut me down.
Well, it's because you're crazy and you're absolutely out of your fucking mind.
Right. And you're saying hateful things.
You
that
know
can
how
get
you know
people
how
killed.
off the fucking rails you are. Even Donald Trump doesn't want to hang out with you. Just saying, man. You weren't invited to CPAC. That's like
also these are the people.
talk about wingdings and fucknuts. Okay, I mean, and you weren't invited.
Yeah,
you
he
couldn't
got-
even get.
Of all the people, I mean, even Glenn Beck was at CPAC.
Right, yeah, that's how fucking crazy you are, Alex. Glenn Beck got an invitation and you did.
Oh, we will talk about.
Oh, Glenn Beck's another future star on our show.
That's a future star.
That's called
Leader-
a tease.
Leader of the group, the leader of the group
Mm-hmm.
was Clayton Counts, or he liked to go by the name. Are you ready for this? Space Hitler. So the people that pick it on Alex aren't the best people either.
Ugh.
They're these like idiot edgelord.
Where do
types. It was the 90s. It was Austin, Texas, man. It was weird.
What do you mean it was Austin, Texas? It probably still is Austin, Texas. Austin's pretty progressive for Texas. Yeah,
Hey, Bernie won a lot of
That just means they don't, shoot people in the streets anymore, that's all.
Or do they? Space Hitler, or
Google it.
Clayton Counts, or
Yeah,
as some know him as Space Hitler,
Weirdo.
would call the show and just shout, "Die! Die! Die!" That's all he would do. I had to lean so
Did
far
he
back
have-
from the mic to say that because it was
Did
it's
he-
all caps.
Did he have a call, like a guy working the call, like we do at the...
Like a call screener?
Yeah, like-
no, they didn't. The host of the show, the one clip that I've seen that somebody
Is
unearthed,
it just him running the whole thing?
there's somebody running the calls, but they don't care about screening it. They'll put anybody on.
Okay.
It's like I said, it was their public.
Well, that's his own
It
problem.
was a no rules public access.
Yeah, but
station.
after the first time, you would have been like, you know what? No more with that guy. Figure out his number. They had caller ID at that point.
yeah, but
God, Alex, you're just...
you don't. I don't think. He couldn't. That's what he got so much. He got better at that. This is the beginning of his career, so he doesn't know how to handle criticism because, he wants to rail against these like politicians
Unseen forces.
like Hillary Clinton and don't get me wrong, Hillary Clinton sucks. I don't like Hillary Clinton, but the way he goes after her being like this elite at parts, but then he calls her a demon, a socialist elite, whatever horrible thing you want to say. But he came from a rich family. His dad was a dentist and a good dentist in Austin that had a lot of money. So when he goes on public access and he spews the stupid bullshit he could spew, he could do that with the family's rich friends because they don't care. They're crazy too. So, but when he gets on TV and other people are like, "Who's this fucking guy?" They're going to call in and yell at him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't ready for that. So that's why he was going to rip the phone out of the wall and he would scream at him, and you got guys like yelling at him and screaming horrible things. They wouldn't just say die, die, die. They would also say Jarhead Jones. Jarhead Jones. That's all they would say. And he would be livid.
Why?
He didn't like it. He hated it. And I'm like, are they trying to say that he's some like military person, or are they trying to say like his head is like a jar? I don't know what the insult is. But it's so funny because it's such a schoolyard insult.
Yeah.
This should not affect an adult in any way. They should just be like, well, okay, whatever.
Just hang the phone up.
But Alex has such a fragile ego that he has to be like, oh, shut up, you're a dummy. If you notice anybody that criticizes him, his go-to thing is, I challenge you to a bare-knuckle boxing match. Like $1 million bare-knuckle,
That's
whatever.
what smart people do, is I don't agree with you, I'm going to kick your ass. That is a sure sign of maturity and intelligence.
That is something you say in high
The
school.
words
That is something you
my
say, like,
words
it's
were
crazy.
dripping with sarcasm like syrup off a stack of pancakes, right? You understood that,
Yeah.
right? That's not smart.
Yeah.
That's definitely the way to tell me that you're stupid.
Right.
I can't argue with
you. know how someone is,
or beat you mentally.
you know how someone knows they can't argue with you anymore? They challenge you to a fight.
Yeah.
Because they've lost the intellectual...
And especially somebody like that who spends all their time like lifting weights and shit.
Yeah.
I don't even want... No. You know what? It wouldn't be bare knuckle. At some point, you would have something... You'd have like a fucking blade stash
And
somewhere.
when you hear
You'd
this...
fucking cheat,
When
man.
you hear this story, that's going to be like the climax of this episode.
Climax.
You're going to just be like, you're kidding, right? So here we go.
Orgasm.
So they call him Jarhead Jones. They shout, die, die, die at him. Well, this whole thing became a confrontation. So this all boiled over in 1997. Alex held an open house at the ACA TV station. So this is when he's
already love it.
starting in his career, and he's already believing his bullshit. Where he's like, I'm going to have an open house, and all my fans are going to come up and hang out with me and eat some food and chit-chat. You know, like, I don't even think he was on the air that long when he did this. So, unfortunately for Alex, the only people that showed up were Clayton, Space Hitler, and another member of his little troll group, like a skinny guy. Yeah. And all they said was Jarhead. Alex recognized who they were and freaked out. I recognized the voice. Of course, they're the only people to call him Jarhead. And he just goes, "Who the hell do you think you are? Like, how dare you show up, whatever." And, like, they were already under his skin, right?
Mm. Awesome.
Dude, buckle up, because this is a ride. He shouted at them, as I mentioned, and then ran to his car and grabbed something under the seat and attached it to his belt loop. Was
it a taser?
Alex began ranting at Clayton and his friend, saying, "This is my place of business. I have a gun." Like, freaking out. And he's like, I can shoot you. You are threatening me at my place of business, and I can hold my ground.
Stand your ground, which is a bullshit law.
Hold my ground, in the quote. Yeah. And then, so the guy that was getting yelled at, the unnamed friend, he just took a step back because Alex just kept, like, puffing his chest out at him.
Of course.
Doing the typical, like, toxic douchebag, like, "What, dude? What?" Like, bumping you in the chest. I'm like, knock it off. So he kept getting in this guy's face. At one point, the guy antagonized Alex to shoot him. He just says, like, "Fucking shoot me, man. Do it, you fucking loser. You can't fucking shoot me." And it gets crazy. So then this is when it gets really out of hand. The guy who was the friend of Space Hitler that was being threatened fucking roundhouse kicked Alex in the face.
Awesome.
Just imagine that. When I was doing this research, I was almost in tears laughing my ass off. Because this is, of all the crazy bullshit that Alex comes up with on a daily basis, this thing is real.
Getting roundhouse kicked in the face by a troll.
He took it to my face.
I was trying to get across the bridge, and the troll said, "You can't unless you pay the toll." And I said, "Fuck you, troll!" And I got a roundhouse kicked across the face.
I gotta say though, Space Hitler's friend,
Crazy.
Space Hitler's friend. What's the deal with the fancy roundhouse kick? Just punch him in the face. Why do you got to roundhouse kick him?
Because a standard punch is too good for him.
I guess a guy like Alex, for the story,
You have to hurt him and embarrass him.
Right? Because you take a roundhouse to the face, there's no coming back from that situation. You just got to be like, "Oh, fuck. I'm not."
Anybody can connect with a punch. It's straightforward.
When
I see you, I go,
whips their leg.
Roundhouse kick. You literally go 360 degrees, and at some point connect with that dude with your leg.
But you do it so fast.
Or with your foot.
You don't know. The person that receives it doesn't know what just happened.
No.
They're just like, "Oh, Jesus."
No, in fact, most people even like around would be like, "What just happened?
Like, did he just...
Why is he on the ground now?
Anyway.
Did he do something?"
So this next part...
Looked like he was dancing for a second.
This next part... This is amazing. This whole scene. This next part is a first-hand account from one of the producers at ACA TV, Charlie Sotelo. Quote, "It just stunned Alex. Alex was just dazed for a couple of seconds, and the guy just hit him again. Two solid shots to the face. And Alex starts hitting back, and it's like he's just throwing his hand straight forward, really inept. So he wasn't connecting with anything. This guy was just roundhousing him. So in between punches or kicks or whatever, Alex was still talking shit. This guy is so insecure that he had to talk shit while he was getting his ass beat. He says, "Oh, you're a professional fighter." Pop, kick to the face. "Oh, you do this for a living?" Pop. This guy hits him again. This guy is whipping his ass, and he's talking shit. It's incredible. He hits Alex, no exaggeration, 8 to 10 times in the face.
I would love to see that.
And all of them were good, and like, boom, right on. And I want to reiterate, Alex is a human being, and I don't root for violence, and I don't root for something to happen like this to someone. But you got to admit, it's fucking funny. The fact that he is getting roundhouse kicked. And in between, he's like, "Oh,
again,
he's just, hey,
you're
a tough guy. Pop, yeah, you're real tough. He just keeps kicking your ass."
What we're trying to kind of get across is like every single person ever in the history of the world was waiting for one of those 8 to 10 kicks to the face to knock whatever the fuck it is loose.
Knock some sense
in his brain. None of us were going like, "Man, if only one of those 8 to 10 kicks to the face had killed him or something
Right.
to
No, I
that,
would
or
never say that.
crippled
No.
or coma or brain damage. No, what we are trying to say is that one of those 8 to 10 hopefully would have been like, what the hell's wrong with me?
Why am I in this situation? Why
Yeah,
is-
yeah. Why am I talking while I'm getting kicked in the face?
Why am I talking?
Right.
Well, and that's the
But
thing.
it didn't.
But
so
see, that's the thing with Alex. He
that's why it's
doesn't-
funny.
He doesn't understand that because he's surrounding himself with yes men. He's surrounding things that listen to everything he says and believe everything he says, and just like,
God help you.
Alex, you're so smart. You're
I'm
a
going to
genius.
subjugate everything that I believe in for money and a job.
Yeah.
You're a fucking punk.
And his dad
punk.
helped him because again, his dad.
I
was
work on the
rich.
Rush Limbaugh show. I just do it for the experience and the money. You're a fucking punk, is what you are. Same thing with Alex Jones guy. Just saying. Jobs and money.
Funny mention Rush Limbaugh because Rush Limbaugh. Was
What's the story with them? Do they make out or do they hang out?
No. Alex models a lot of his style from Rush.
Give each other hand jobs or something.
No, I'm just saying. Excuse me. That he started smoking cigars more to get a more gravelly voice to sound more like Rush Limbaugh. And for the beginning of his career, he hated him, and he tried to be like, "I'm not Rush Limbaugh. I'm more conservative than he is." Or no. This is the beginning of his career. I'm wrong. It was he's still a part of the machine. He's still a conservative. I'm in the middle. I hate George Bush and all that stuff. But now as time's gone on, he's more of like, I'm a real conservative. He's different, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But he's gotten nicer on Rush Limbaugh because he admitted on air, after Rush Limbaugh announced he had advanced lung cancer, Alex had the audacity to just kind of throw his hat in the ring if Rush were to die from this.
Wow.
Where he was just like, somebody like me could probably be in that slot. I don't know. Like, blah, blah. He really thinks that Rush Limbaugh listeners would hop in and join his show. Now, I do think there might be some overlap. Alex is just too crazy. Alex is too fringe. To me, I think they're both crazy, but I definitely think there's different levels. Because one of them is smart and made an empire out of it. One was very rich for a while, but is losing his grip on reality. One's probably gonna die. I don't know. Point is, Alex took a lot of inspiration from Rush Limbaugh because he saw that is how to get the money. What he's doing is making the money. And when Alex first started, Limbaugh had already been on the air for like 8 or 9 or 9 or 10 years.
Yeah, no.
So he could figure that out.
Right. Well, here's the other thing too is Rush is still such a part of the machine, Alex. Hey, how did Alex make his money? Was it because his show got really popular and he started getting sponsorships?
And it's because he may have talked to the current president, who he said he didn't like and hated.
No, I mean like when he was first starting and started making money. It's because people were like, "I'll advertise on your show."
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he got.
So you're a part of the machine too, dickface. Like seriously, come on. Like how can you really believe somebody like that when they're like,
well, I mean,
you're participating in it?
Alex's show runs through the Genesis. I want to look it up real quick because I want to get this right because this place will come up more. But yeah, Alex gets his money from his supplements mostly, but he still gets help from
and how did he
a
get
conservative
to a
conservative thing. And yeah, so for him to say like Rush Limbaugh would be a sellout or something.
He has no place.
I don't know if
to say anything like that.
I don't know if Alex ever said that. I don't know about
We don't,
that.
no.
I haven't done the research on that. But he definitely changed his tune on Rush because he thinks he could get Rush's job. And
Why would you want it?
It's a lot of money there. But even then,
I would
only
love
a
to
certain
have
amount
that.
of companies actually advertise with Limbaugh because of his politics
Oh,
are too
yeah.
hard edge.
No.
Nobody is going to. Alex has.
You want to know why I'm never shopping at mypillow.com?
Here's the problem, and we'll get into this more. But post 2015 or like 2015
Post Malone.
through the 2016 election, Alex was almost like wasn't a household name, but people were getting more and more aware of him.
I don't think I heard of him until like 2014, 15.
Yeah, that's because that's when Trump showed up on his show, and we'll talk about that in detail. But he got so big in that one brief period of time, but it's only for that brief period of time because the 2016 election was fucking bonkers, man. And the 2020 election that we're going through right now is not as weird, but still pretty damn weird. We're living through some strange times. So it only makes sense that Alex Jones would be popular for a few years. But he does not have a mainstream crossover appeal. And he can't help himself. He can't tone himself down and be a little reasonable, just a little bit, and have a little bit of self-awareness. So he can't be crossover. You know?
Yeah.
And
Well, that's just too bad.
and there's a reason that there's certain guys, you know, like a Limbaugh or a Hannity, or hell, even like a Laura Ingraham or Tucker Carlson. They know their brand. They stick to it. They don't talk about fucking 12-dimensional aliens. They don't talk about Sandy Hook being fake or any kind of national tragedy.
No, in fact, most of
fake.
the. Ow, shit.
You hit your knee.
Fuck, what is all this crap underneath this table? I can't sit.
No, sorry.
Hate you.
Anyway.
No, but one of the things that you know, the three prominent names we mentioned, Hannity, Rush, and Laura Ingraham, if you're not aware, they're all...
or Tucker Carlson. I would say Tucker Carlson's pretty popular.
Yeah. He's at weeknight... I think it's Carlson, Hannity, and Ingraham, whatever.
Ingram.
But here's the thing, is that...
You always say that wrong. It's Ingram. Laura Ingraham.
I don't care. I hate her.
I know, I'm not a big fan of hers either.
Okay. But the big thing that that keeps them grounded and that they try to impart and why they're able to get so many people to believe what they say is because their big thing is, I'm the reasonable one.
Right.
They're the crazy ones. Right. You need...
And when you're
and Alex
Jones,
doesn't help himself by saying... They're crazy, but the reason why is because they've been taken over by lizard people.
Yeah.
That's
I will
not...
say this.
The underlying thing about all those three other names is that they are reasonable and they're based in reality. In fact, their whole argument generally is the people on the left are having fairy tales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So grounded in...
Yeah, you don't have...
Alex doesn't help himself.
You don't have Hannity or... Rush or Ingram or Tucker Carlson, any of those names, any of them talking about human-animal hybrid chimera or demonic.
Not even a little.
Hillary, like people being demons and aliens and shit and reptilians. They don't say that because they know that nobody would want to put advertising on this stupid fucking thing that you're saying. Turning the frogs gay? One of the most infamous clips in his career. You wouldn't see that from those people.
Because it's stupid.
And they know I can't make money saying that. Exactly. And that's what
all of you that believe that demigods are out there believing what they say, they're not. They're saying what they say to make money, and you...
Unless you're Alex, because
are
Alex
sheep. Yeah, Alex
is crazy.
But to follow any of those people is to be a sheep. Let's not mince words.
It's the world of politics, man. I mean, if
what's the liberal guy? Morning Joe? Same thing.
Joe... Oh, yeah, I can't think of his last name. He's horrible. I don't like... That's the thing. I don't like either of them.
No.
I don't like left-wing or
either
right-wing
side. Yeah.
I hate them both. I think they're both silly and
So
partisan.
think for
and
yourself
tribalistic.
is what we're trying to get at.
Yeah.
Hey.
But not Alex Jones level.
No.
Genesis Communication
Don't just
Networks.
make shit up. Yeah, Genesis.
Genesis Communication Networks is how he runs his show.
Okay.
So, yeah, if he ever called Rush a sellout, he's wrong. So, Alex had gotten hit 8 to 10 times at this point. Roundhouse.
Still talking about the...
I don't... No, there's more, baby. There's more. So, I was like, I don't know if those are all roundhouse kicks, but if they were, that's even funnier than I imagined.
We're going to go ahead and just say they were.
For the sake of this being funnier, we're going to say they're 8 to 10 roundhouse kicks.
Boom.
Oh, you're a tough guy, huh? Oh, you do this for a living? Oh. Just keep
boom.
So, all right, and there's more to this story. So finally,
you think you're a tough guy? Huh? Well, you know what?
So finally, Sotelo interjects and breaks up the fight, and cops are called. And then in true
Alex Sartello again, or whatever.
He was the guy that saw this all happen.
Was he part of like Alex's team or something?
Well, he was just one of the producers at the public access station.
So I love how
He just turns around.
No, I love how eventually he stops the fight. Like after like the 9th one, he was like, "Man, this is awesome, but I gotta."
That's what I'm saying. Is like even the people that work with him were like, "He kind of deserves this. I'm gonna let this happen."
Anybody else, like one punch or one kick would have been
Right,
like,
you would
"Hey,
immediately-
man,
yeah.
hey, not cool." No, this guy had to get to like
For
8.
8 to 10 hits.
He had to get to 8 and be like, only a couple more.
Oh, he's bleeding. All right, I gotta get in there.
Yeah. God, it's so great though.
That's so fun. That's
Remember
why,
that? Remember this is for when you stole that tuna sandwich, motherfucker. Yeah, that was mine. My name was on it.
So finally, Sotelo interjects. Like I said, breaks up the fight, stops this whole thing, calls the cops. But then, in true Alex Jones fashion, he started to spin his own little story, his own little yarn. He's like, there was 4 or 5 of them. They had a knife, and they were all trying to. And then he noticed that Sotelo was standing there, like after, like he gets him settled down, and then he comes up to him later, and he goes, gets in his fucking face, and goes, "Why the fuck are you on their side? Like, why didn't you step in? Why didn't you help me? I'm getting my face kicked in," which is fair. But when he's saying this, he's like shooting blood. It's like
course.
spit and blood is flying in this dude's face. And he says he spits saliva and blood. It hits my mouth. It hits my shirt, my brand new shirt I just got for Christmas and I was going to wear on TV for the first time. That's the full quote. I didn't make that up. He actually said that.
Nice.
Then Alex throws a punch at him. But it's like, it's so weak because, again, Alex got his ass whipped. Takes his fist, swings, doesn't even get close to hitting Sotelo, the producer. And he said it's so weak that, quote, his forearm hits the side of my neck. I'm furious. He's just streaming blood. There's a lot of blood to be had. Like, he's spitting blood all over and in this guy's face, on his shirt. Like, this is disgusting. So Sotelo did the only thing he could do. He punched Alex in the face, and not long after this, it ended his stint in public access TV. So, as we're coming to the close, I have one more thing I want to talk about. And then
How long have we been on?
it's been an hour.
Really?
46 minutes.
We got started really early tonight.
There's a whole other section here. But I wanted to keep it limited. And I wanted the first episode to be a little fun.
Mm-hmm.
And where we could all get into the mood of mocking Alex. Because it only gets
Fun.
It only gets stranger.
It's easy.
And it gets a lot darker. And it's a ride. So we want to
It's like falling off a
into
boat.
it. Yeah, we're giving you hints to be like, this is going to get a lot darker and a lot worse, and it's only getting worse as we're talking. So we're going to talk about the final edition. That was the name of his radio show. So this is where he switches formats to where people can't see him. So yeah,
Alex.
he hosted on an FM station
schmuck.
too, not just AM, FM.
That's not bad.
In Austin. Alex got the job thanks to his dad.
Oh.
As I mentioned before, a local dentist that pulled some strings and got him a job at the station.
Well.
And this is where Alex
Was
really
that-
started to form his craft. This is where we got of how the Alex Jones is going to be, how InfoWars, all this stuff.
Of Mice and Alex.
Of Mice and Alex. Yeah, that should be the name. We're calling this one the Alex Jones Saga Part 1, Rise of the InfoWarrior.
Niece Warrior.
thinking-
Noise.
I'm thinking Part 2 should be Dawn of the InfoWar. What do you think?
Dawn of the Dildo.
What is it with you and dildos?
I like him.
We're going to cut that out.
Why?
Okay, so I never tell you how much
Why would you do that?
I never tell you how much I love doing this show.
That's like the best part. No.
No, we're going. I don't edit this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I love how last week was like, we're going to cut that out. Anyway, and I'm like, you totally lied.
Remember, there's one part where I literally go cut,
Oh, yeah.
and I left it in because that was the running joke between Paul and I when we do Loud Sports. Anyway,
I don't use them myself. I just like them.
I just think it's
I
funny.
like looking at them, the color, the texture.
He just
There's one called a beaver. It's the clit while you let.
I'm
Oh,
cutting all this. So this is where Alex really started to form his craft. Because this is, I think, as we know now, he does work better on screen because you can see how stupid he looks. But
No, do you mean he works better on screen like for us or for himself?
I think for us.
Okay, for
I
our
think he
entertainment
does not look
purposes.
good on camera.
Okay,
I think
okay.
because a lot of times
I'm sure in his mind he's like, now I'm on TV, so I'm hit the big time.
No, this is how you could tell about his alcoholism because
His
you could
red-
see how puffy he was looking and how like he could see the bags under his eye and in just his manner you could tell he was drunk. There was a period where he stopped drinking and he got skinnier and he actually looked healthier, but now he's back on the wagon, of course, and having some troubles. But
He's off the wagon, ladies and
all
gentlemen.
right, off. Is it on or off?
When you're on the wagon, you're not.
Sober. Got it.
So that's when you say I fell off the wagon.
Gotcha.
But I'm back on.
Right, gotcha. All right, so this is a quote from someone that worked at the radio station. Quote, he just walked into the booth, sat down, and started into a rant. Cold. I've never saw anything like that. I never saw anything like that. I was going to say, I don't want to make him sound silly, but that was the end of the quote. So, yeah, someone that's worked in radio.
That's easy.
Someone that's worked in
I mean,
radio
I could do that.
knows how much prep goes into a show.
Yeah.
Whether it's 3 hours, 4 hours, doesn't matter. There's a lot of prep work that goes into this, and you want it to sound good, so you want to know what you're talking about. This episode, or this show even, is all, there's a script I follow because I want it to make sense and understand, and I'm telling a story. So to have someone come in and just start ranting like whatever he wanted or whatever he was mad about that day, to be like, well, here's the thing, we're being run by Chimera, and blah, 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 blah. Just to jump in the booth and go, have no show prep, no anything. It's incredible. I'll give him that. It is a talent.
Yes, but not if you realize that conversation has been going on between himself and himself,
Yeah, right.
like 24/7. And when he gets like into the booth that day, like
He's
literally,
shouting at you what he's
no,
hearing.
all he literally does is just go, is take that stupid thing that's going on in his head and go, boop, wah,
Project it out.
and then just start having a conversation with the audience.
Whereas a normal person thinks about what they're talking about, thinks about what they're going to say, it does their job, where he just says, I don't care, I'll say whatever I want. Which I do respect that aspect of him, where he just says whatever he wants. Now, that being said, shouldn't say some of the horrible things that he says. There's my problem is he's not a good broadcaster.
No,
And because of that style is why he's not a good broadcaster. He still does that to this day. He just reads headlines. He doesn't actually look into the article that he's reading. He just reads headlines and shows them on the screen and be like, see, look, it's there. And a lot of times he takes stories from his own conspiracy website and presents them as fact. So I understand your aspect
Alex
of it. where-
Jones is what we aspire to.
Yeah, I wish I could be that stupid. I really wish I could be that dumb.
It's exhausting.
That is Ryan Schuh, S-C-H-U-H. Schuh?
Shoe.
Schuh? I could
Shoe.
have typed it wrong
Maybe
too. I don't know.
shoe.
But he was the radio engineer there, and yeah, he was just like, it was incredible. He would like this guy's insane.
I guess.
Well, during the show in 1998, he ran a successful campaign to rebuild the Branch Davidian Church in memorial of those that died in the fire, and that is a future episode, I feel. Well, I don't know how much conspiracy really
What
plays into Waco.
The fuck.
But yes, there was the people that were killed in the Waco thing.
Branch, yeah.
The Branch Davidians, which honestly, we all know how fucked up that situation was.
Oh, yeah.
The government fucked up big time. So I understand that, but I don't know. It just seems like he was, again, trying to capitalize on a crisis because it was only a few years. Because the fire happened in 93. He's doing this in 98. So there's not a big gap there for him to be doing that. It'd be like somebody doing something. Yeah, it's not a good look.
See, like to me, when so when
It's
we're-
hard to compare it to because
Yeah.
normal people wouldn't do shit
No,
like that.
no. But okay, like to me, like that's something like that he was doing that was as close as you can get when you're talking about him as close as you can get to honorable. And what I mean by that is Yes, the people in the Branch Davidian compound, like they got screwed real bad, and the government fucked up, and those people should not have
Oh
died.
yeah, the government really fucked that situation.
So for Alex Jones to say, "Hey, the government fucked up that situation," and to rail against them, like I'm all for it, Alex Jones. The problem is that then he turns it into, "I'm gonna build a fucking a memorial."
And I want the notoriety on my radio show.
Then I'm off the boat, man. Then I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking
He's
about?"
clearly doing it for fame.
Right.
Everything he does, he's doing it for fame. It's
you
never.
had me, dude. You had me up till here.
Yeah.
And then you're like, let's build like and what? No.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Just tell
he tries
the
to capitalize.
Tell the average citizen how much the government can fuck you if they want to. That's all.
This is his thing. He's made money for years doing this. Any tragedy,
He's so disgusting.
any situation, it's disgusting.
Oh, are we talking about Sandy Hook next episode?
Yes, that's coming up.
Okay.
But no, that's what I'm saying. To capitalize on any school shooting, any tragedy, any outbreak of anything that's bad that's hurting us, he will profit off of it. He will do what he can to profit off of it. That had never changed about him. So that's why I want to show you that little tidbit there. Even then, when he was just starting his career, he was like that. Which I'll give him this. He's true to his character. He's a shitty human, but at least he's true to himself. So he actually had a lot of success though on the final edition. Not surprising. When these guys first start out, they're interesting because they're so wacky and weird and entertaining. He was so popular that he even won quotes, I'm quoting air quotes here, best Austin talk radio host, as voted by the readers of the Austin Chronicle in 1999.
The other two options, ladies and gentlemen, were dead air and hemorrhoids commercials.
Ooh, I don't know. I'd probably take the hemorrhoid commercials.
I would take the dead air.
Just a sound.
We kind of got to give it to the guy who's talking, I guess. Fuck.
I guess we'll give it to this guy.
Shit. Can we get another talk show on this fucking station? Can we get somebody to run up against him?
As we wrap up this story of Alex's life, despite the despite the popular son of a bitch, I'm gonna try to get through this without cracking. Despite the popularity of the final edition, it did come to an end in 1999 when Alex was fired from the station because he refused to broaden his topics. What was I talking about earlier?
Broaden his topics?
Yeah, he was too narrow
Sure.
and attacking these things that were so fringe and weird.
So did somebody come to him and say, like, hey, unless you start doing this on your show, you're going to be canceled?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, most of the time the topics he touched on made it hard to sell advertisements for. Nobody wanted to sell on this crazy nut jobs show. Why would they? This guy's talking about Oklahoma City bombings were an inside job. He's giving money to make a memorial for Branch Davidian Church. Like, he's crazy. I can't sell anything. I can't sell my dick pills on this,
Guess
man.
what? Guess what will always buy advertising? Walmart.
Why do you hate Walmart so much?
Didn't say I hate them. It's smart.
We're just going to go.
But listen.
You hate him. You
Hey.
hate him. Just admit it.
Whatever. But hey, listen, Alex, Walmart, who has bought advertising on every single station around us and above us and down the line, wants to advertise on your show. But then they tuned in and listened to your frogs are gay thing. And even though they advertise with literally every single other person, they won't advertise. How do you feel that you are the only person?
I don't think Alex
By the way,
understands.
the other one of the other shows that they are advertising on is the Mortuary Hour every Sunday, like where the guy just talks about coffins. Okay, just keep it going, Alex. Right on. No. We did get an account for the kindergarten down the street.
I don't think he understands.
Interestingly enough.
I think Alex revels in this. Even right now, I think he revels in it.
Well, the underdog.
He lives...
Or whatever.
He loves to be hated.
The persecuted.
It is like an addiction. I think he's being serious about his rage being addiction.
As somebody who's felt like that, I mean, yeah, it's easy.
It's the alcoholism, but he's labeling it under rage. Is what he's
Right,
doing.
but it's so much easier to say, you know what?
I'm just angry.
You know what? It's just the world is against me, man. Fuck it.
And I don't think he understands that he's
so much easier to do that.
He's so fringe, these conservative things will not touch him. They don't want to be a part of him. So this led to the beginning of the Alex that we know. So there is a little thing called fate. He loses the job at the final edition, but this is the kick in the pants he needed because in 1999, Alex Jones founded Infowars.com.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And he started the Alex Jones Show that still runs to this day.
Yeah.
And we will be covering that in our next episode. So before we get out of here, I want to say my sources.
Penis. Oh. I've been waiting to say that all episode.
I know you've been sitting there. I'll have my sources. I wanted to mention those. I used articles from The Observer, from Business Insider, and The Washington Post, and I'll have all of the links to those stories in the description. They're all great, well-written articles.
And opinions from Tyler's brain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my other source. Yeah, Tyler's brain. Thank you so much. I am so excited. You know, I hate to admit how much fun I'm having doing these episodes because Alex Jones has been this weird, crazy figure in my life for like the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. On and off, he has found ways to get back in my life where I'm like, what is this asshole still doing?
I can't quit you, Alex.
Like, I know, he is. He's like a drug of stupidity. Like, I need to see how not to be a broadcaster. So I watch Alex Jones. And he gives me all I need to know. So it is so much fun to have all this knowledge about him and you not knowing much and just laying it all in front of you and being like, this man is crazier than you really thought. And when you think there's no bottom, Alex will find it. He is 100% an asshole, but he is so unbelievably interesting. And my old goal of this is to point out that people like him can be dangerous, and we will touch on the Sandy Hook stuff. We will touch on the comet. Common decency. Pizzagate. We'll talk about that.
Isn't a common thing from them.
We'll even give him credit about Epstein if we have to, because he was kind of right about that.
Everybody's right about. The only people who aren't right about Epstein are the people who like were supposed to be watching him.
Yeah.
No, it was totally suicide.
That was not a well-kept secret. And we'll definitely cover that as well. Epstein didn't kill himself.
Listen, I was on a smoke break, and then I came back, and he'd hung himself. No, you don't smoke.
Save it. Save it for the episode.
You don't smoke.
Trust me, Epstein didn't kill himself. Will be an epic series.
This guy came in and he's like, "Do you want a cigarette?" And I was like, "Sure."
And then, because I don't know what happened. So that is part one. I don't know what you mean.
I don't what. So I said, "Sure, I'll start a terrible habit."
So that was part one of the Alex Jones saga, the rise of the Info Warrior, and yes, part two will be next week where we talk about how he formed InfoWars, how it became a big thing, all the troubles.
Bread rises.
All the troubles that he ran into. I might split the Sandy Hook stuff off in its own episode because there's so much to that story. That with Pizzagate, but we'll see how this works out. So it'll mostly be about his rise to fame with InfoWars, and then we'll work some more into it. It might be a 4-part series. I'm planning for 3, but we'll see what happens. If you want to get this show, you can get it on Anchor. That's our home base, and we still need to do an ad for them. I keep forgetting that. We should do that.
Yes.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. And if you want us to do your conspiracy theory, if you can send us a big, long conspiracy theory in an email, we will read it on the air, and we will treat it as if it was something we found.
Or even, like something like JFK ordered a fake moon landing and that's why he got killed, right?
Something like
just
that.
A sentence like that, and we can take care of the rest.
We will do an
Either
episode.
We'll look it up if it's a real one, or we'll make it up if it ain't.
I like it.
I just gave Jake a wink, and I think I made him uncomfortable.
Yeah, you always make me uncomfortable. So yeah, if you want to do that, send those emails. Look at me how fast I pivoted out of that. Send those emails to tinfoilradiopodcast@gmail.com. So yes, we will be back for part 2 of Alex Jones next Friday, and I hope you're there. Normally I wanted to do Friday the 13th episode, like conspiracies, but Alex is in the news again, so I have to talk
Knights Templar.
And remember, if you're listening to this, we're already dead.
What is my problem?